Well, as stated in the title of the video and thumbnail, I have now purchased the cheapest, newest, and highest mileage Subaru Forester on all of Facebook Marketplace. At least all of Facebook Marketplace in North and South Carolina. I've been looking for a Forester for many years, but they have always been pretty daggum expensive. Subaru Foresters hold their resale value better than any other model, at least in what I have seen. These things, just people treat them like they're made of gold when pricing them to sell used. But finally it's paid off. Finally I found a super cheap Project Forester for the channel. We now have an SJ Forester. We're gonna see how much I paid for it, go through a full vehicle inspection, look at everything that's wrong with it, and see, did I shoot myself in the foot with this, or did I get a steal of a deal? With that said, let's jump into the inspection and check out this Forester. So let's start with a walk around and a little bit of information about what we're looking at here. This is a 2014 Subaru Forester 2.5i Premium, and it has 233,000 miles on the clock. I picked this car up in Columbia, South Carolina, and we'll talk about pricing a little bit later once we've inspected and figured out everything wrong with the car. Now, looking at the provided Carfax and all the information before purchasing, this car is a clean two-owner vehicle. I'm now the third owner. Has not been in any wrecks or collisions. It has had some body work done and does have a little bit of issue right here. The finish panel or rear garnish panel is cracked, is broken. But other than that, there's nothing really jumping out abnormal. There's your typical little scratches and dings and dents and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I found during the pre-purchase inspection was this right here. We see the front bumper cover is not aligned with the fender correctly. I questioned the owner about that, and he said that there was some damage done after he purchased the car. A big truck threw some rocks up on the highway, smashed the headlight, tore up the front bumper cover, and dented the fender. I noted that the fender was blue on the inside, so this is a used fender. This is a depot headlight, where a factory headlight would be a Subaru or Kyoto, which you can see in the corner, possibly. And then looking at this one, we can see that it is a depot, so we know it's a crash part. And then the fact that the bumper cover set proud here was probably an aftermarket bumper cover, or the body shop just didn't set it correctly. So we have a little bit of damage here, but no wreck. I checked the frame rails, checked the radiator support. Everything is all original. Nothing is bent, nothing is crushed up. Everything's good there. So moving on to the interior, this being a premium, it does have cloth interior. Seats are in need of a shampooing. The whole car just needs a general cleanup, but nothing crazy, nothing abused or abnormal for a car with this kind of mileage and age. I did tell you wrong, it's 223,000, not 233,000. We do have the little fuse door is loose. There's little clips that go in here that clip that shut. Really common to break or be lost. Floor mats are intact, just the regular carpeted floor mats, no all-weathers. We have CD player, bass radio, no navigation, no automatic climate control. We got the typical wear on the center console lid that most Subarus experience. Moving on to the back seat. Some more staining, but nothing crazy. Should be able to clean most of that, unless I'd go the route of my 2015 Outback and put a nice limited leather interior in it, which I'm working on sourcing that right now. In the back, we are missing the cargo cover, and we do not have an all-weather cargo mat. Bummer there. But otherwise, clean car on the inside, not too terrible, and nothing really too horrible on the outside here. I believe this rear garnish panel from Subaru Parts Deals is about 85 bucks. And then the little weather strip here is another like 20 bucks. So time to look under the hood. Let's see how good this thing is, mechanically speaking. So we got a lot of corrosion on the battery that needs to be cleaned up. but doesn't look too terrible. It started up just fine, doesn't seem like it's weak. Don't know the age of it. Maybe if we clean this up, we'll be able to find a date on it. We do have quite a bit of oil buildup here, but like the 2015, I'm pretty confident that this is spillage from topping up the engine oil. Most of the time when you see it right here is from people topping it up without a funnel and spilling it on the engine. Our serpentine belt looks pretty good. It is a little bit worn, but it is not cracked or frayed or anything. Noticed right away that our coolant is low. We barely have any in the reservoir. Pop the radiator cap. Our radiator is full, thankfully, so it's not like astronomically low. Don't know much about service history on it. What I know is that the AC compressor and condenser were recently replaced within the last couple of years, and that was a quite hefty repair. The CVT was completely replaced at 160,000 miles by a certain Subaru dealership in Colombia, which I suspect was done in vain. Probably just needed a valve body, but can't do anything but speculate on that. I've looked at the CV axles. They look like the boots are intact from up top. We're going to get underneath and do a little more thorough inspection. I pulled the snorkel off. Air filter looks fairly new, pre-purchase. A little concerned about the radiator. It is a stock radiator with the age, and it's probably not too far off from cracking this top plastic tank. It's just a common issue with Subarus, especially once they start getting older. We got a little bit of buildup around the PCV union under the AC compressor, but I don't see any evidence of coolant leakage around our crossover pipe O-rings. It's all pretty clean under here. Don't see any evidence of any rodent damage or rodent's nest like we had with the 2018 or 2015 Outback either. So nothing really jumping out as really bad under the hood. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the front of this car off the ground, check our front suspension, and look at the engine underside. See if we got any leaking cam carriers or timing chain cover. So one thing I noticed right off the bat, we got quite a bit of wear on our tires. These are a more aggressive tire. This is a Falcon Wild Peak. It is 2019 date stamp, I believe. It should be week 6 of 2019. We do have a little bit of dry rotting here, and we got a lot of wear on the tread, front and back. Looking at the brakes, the front brakes and the rear brakes are under 50% life left. I don't know what happened to this front wheel, but it is scuffed all to pieces. So really quick here, I can show you what I was looking at when I noticed that was an aftermarket headlight. I'm looking at the radiator support, seeing if there's any evidence that this has been tweaked or bent or painted, overspray, twisted up. Everything looks great here. Everything looks good. And as I noted, that is a factory Subaru headlight here, but we did have an aftermarket one here. And as I said before, when we look inside here, if I can show you on the camera, that is a blue fender. There's some blue paint there if it would focus. Come on. That's blue paint there. So this was a used fender off a blue Forester, and we can see that there is some broken clips and some scratching inside there. So definitely know that something happened here, is why I asked the owner about it. So looking under the front of the car, we do have quite a bit of oil buildup here at the front of the timing chain cover. Again, I think a lot of that is spillage from topping up the oil without a funnel. We look here, we do have some dampness on the cam carrier, and we do have some dampness here at the cam covers. So not great there, but we'll clean it all up and see what's actually leaking and what is spillage that has leaked down. Other than that, no rust, great, because it's a Southern car. It was bought brand new from Subaru in Columbia, South Carolina. It was traded into a Honda dealership in Lexington, and then spent the rest of its life in Columbia before coming to me. We see the old gross valve I can't stand. We'll be replacing that with a regular oil drain plug. And looking back here at our CVT oil pan, everything's nice and dry back here. Nothing really jumping out. We'll go look at the other side of the engine, see if there's anything looking horrible over there, or see if it's just this side. If just this side's wet, I'm gonna guess that a lot of this is spillage, especially if the other side is still dry. So somewhat as I figured, this side of the engine is very dry. There's a little bit of seepage here at the cam cover gaskets, but otherwise the cam carriers are really dry on this side. Now we do have a little bit of accumulation here in the corner of the timing chain cover, but doesn't look very bad. I'm not gonna really worry about that too much. Again, we'll clean it all up and then see where any fresh drips come from, and we'll go from there. But otherwise, not looking too shabby under here. Sway bar bushings look a little bit long in the tooth, and we'll get the pry bar out and check the ball joints and all that. During the test drive, I did hear some clicking from one of the front axles, so we probably got an outer CV joint that is on its way out. But other than that, everything looks really, really good under here. Not even seeing any accumulation of oil, like a rear main seal leak or oil pan leak, anything like that, so good signs. So jacked up the front of the vehicle, getting the wheels and tires off the ground. All the suspension, all the steering is in good condition, other than this right here. Looks like we've got either a bad inner or outer tie rod end. It's a little hard for me to look and wiggle it, so I'll have to review the footage and let you guys know analyzing the video. Pretty sure I'm feeling it right here in the outer tie rod joint. We also have a broken wheel stud on our front passenger side wheel. All right, guys, so we're kind of running out of daylight today, so we might have to come back tomorrow and finish this up. But I've checked out everything on the rear suspension. Everything is nice and tight. Everything is good. All of our bushings are good. Nothing is prematurely tearing or degrading. Everything looking great. Only issue really I'm seeing is this blown rear strut on the driver's side. And during the test drive, one of these rear hub assemblies or both were making noise. Rear differential nice and dry, axle seals nice and dry, everything good there. Again, those bushings in great shape, all the lateral links, control arms, all that good stuff. Everything looking great. Exhaust system looking great. Again, Southern car. Look back here at the frame rails to make sure there was no rear collision. Everything checks out. Really, really impressed with the car. Not a ton going on, but there is quite a bit once we get inside and hook the scan tool up. Hopefully most of it is all connected together. So one big issue off the boat is we've got an airbag light. We also have nothing out of any of our steering wheel controls down here, over here, over here. Horn, nothing works. He's already had it diagnosed somewhere else as being a bad clock spring, so we're pretty much going to work off of that assumption, but we will be getting in here and testing that to confirm that diagnosis. Now, since that is one thing we are looking at, we're going to go through really quickly, hook up the Top Don Phoenix Max, go through and do an auto scan. Once again, I scanned it before I bought it, but we're going to go through really quickly and check all the codes again and show you what I found in here. I have noticed quite a stench of death, as funny as that sounds, underneath the car when I was looking under the engine and around the front suspension. I think they ran over some roadkill at some point. I couldn't find anything dead under the hood, but there's really a strong smell, and I've noticed quite a few flies around, so something's going on there. I'll have to investigate that. So we'll do a smart scan really quickly, and I'll show you what I found code-wise. We have one code that a lot of people have asked about in the past, and that's P0420 for catalyst efficiency. This car has an active 420 code, so in the future we will be going through diagnosing that and more than likely replacing the catalytic converter, which is a common failure or more common failure on Subarus. Hopefully it's just oxygen sensors contaminated with some oil, but likely going to be putting a cat on this car too. So almost done here. Phoenix Max is really quick. And diagnostic plan. So we got the 420 code twice, as I said. We've got a couple of history codes. I'm not sure what this one is. This one's for steering angle sensor. We got some issues probably with the clock spring, might be interfering with that. We've got all kinds of TPMS issues. I'll go through and check those sensors with the Top Don TP47. We got a speed code that might be for, well, it says it's TPMS, so I'm not sure on that. I figured if it was a speed code for ABS, it'd be wheel speed sensor for one of those failed hub assemblies in the back. And then body control, we've got a battery control power supply, backup power supply, keyless malfunction, and combo meter malfunction. Have to dive into that more. I don't know if the car had a dead battery, was jumped off recently, and maybe it threw some communication codes. And then the airbag codes, opening the airbag, probably dealing with that broken clock spring as well. So, and we got a power supply relay under the power steering. So quite a few codes. We'll go through and diagnose all those in the future, but that's basically it, front, back, and everything inside with codes and the scanner, and the issue with the steering wheel controls not working. So we already knew what the codes were. Going to go through and clear all the DTCs, see what is a hard fault, see what comes back, and see what was just some flukes. So looks like all we've got come back was for the airbag, and we know that's that broken clock spring. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully the only thing we got is that 420 code to really worry about, but we shall see in due time. So guys, it's getting late and I am running out of daylight. It has been a very long day, so I will try to go ahead and compile a list of everything I found wrong, all the parts I'm going to need, and get you a running total of what I need to put in this car, finally tell you how much I paid for it, and then some speculation on what I think we can sell the car for, and is it worth it or not to fix it up and try to flip it. All right guys, so we're back, day 2 with the new Forester project. It's time to talk numbers, time to talk money. The question that you all want to know, how much did I pay for this 2014 Forester? And the answer is 3,000 buckaroos. I paid $3,000 for the car, gone through and compiled a list of parts, got some pricing on it, and we're going to do a quick breakdown on that. So we've got our clock spring coming in at about 180 bucks, rear shock absorbers coming in at $176. Going to put 2 on. You always want to put pairs on. We've got the outer tie rod at $41. Fog light kit at $277, but I'm going to leave that out because that's not a necessity. That's just an upgrade I'd like to add if I'm going to keep the car for any amount of time before reselling it. We've got a catalytic converter, which is the big money here. That is $1,975. Again, we don't know if the catalytic converter is bad. We're just assuming off of that PO420. It could be a simple oxygen sensor issue or a leaking exhaust manifold gasket. There's several things it could be. We haven't diagnosed it yet, so that's just an assumption right now. We've got our spark plugs at $72 for all 4. We've got cam cover gaskets, $14 a side. We've got spark plug tube seals at 10 bucks a piece, or $10 for all 4, excuse me. We've got the rear garnish panel coming in at 80 bucks. We've got the gasket for that garnish protector at $13. I'm not sure if those come pre-painted or if they have to be painted, so we have to figure about that. Rear hub bearing assembly coming in at about 160 bucks. And then we have a front CV axle at about 330 bucks, assuming it's only one. So grand total, that comes out to $3,335.36 before tax. So if we take that and we subtract out that almost $2,000 for the catalytic converter, we're looking at $1,360. We also need a set of tires on this car. So I looked up a set of brand new Michelin Defender tires, which is my absolute favorite. I run it on all my Subarus. That's what we put on the white 2015 back here. I believe that set was about 950 bucks. So 1,360 plus 950 gets us at 2,310. plus $3,000 for the purchase of the vehicle. So $5,310 to get this thing back up and running perfect, other than that 420 code if we need a catalytic converter. I think ballparking, once I clean up the car, if I'm able to put leather or anything in it for a very reasonable price like I did that car, I could possibly in this market get $8,000 to $10,000 out of it. I know that seems high, but prices are really crazy right now, so I could possibly get that much out of it. A more reasonable estimate would be $7,000 to $8,000, but at any route, we're still gonna make a couple grand on the car, depending on the combination of parts and services we have to do. So all in all, I believe I got a pretty good deal on this car. I don't think I'm gonna get hurt on it. I think it's gonna be a nice one, and it's gonna be a project that we're gonna have a good amount of videos on, with doing the clock spring, doing the rear struts, lots of new videos to come out, lots of things to go over, and we got some diagnostic stuff coming up with the 420. So all in all, based on that, based on the content I can get out of the car, based on fixing it, driving it, all that, I think I got a good deal. I think it's a good deal for me. I think it's a good deal for you guys, because we're gonna get lots of videos out of this and lots more information on the web, on YouTube. So what do you guys think? Did I get a good deal? Did I get screwed? Did I shoot myself in the foot and waste $3,000 on this old Subaru Forester? Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts and feelings on it. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one.